Thank God no one can hear us, honestly. That would have been humiliating. I see that we're on Facebook. I'm not sure what's going on with our YouTube live. How's that? Anybody got audio? Because it's showing up on my part. Cool. No, I'm sure it's me, Adrian.
It's not you.
It's not you. Um, yeah, I'm not sure what to do about YouTube. It's being super frustrating. So forgive me with that. But we definitely wanted to connect and talk, and it says my event cannot be edited. So it looks like we will have to yet again wait another day on YouTube. But tonight, I'm so glad. Tonight we wanted to go over some of our favorite images of the year. So, wow,
Here.
super professional.
Nobody's expecting that from us at the
Right.
moment. This is that fresh shirt.
So, with that, maybe we'll give people a couple minutes to get on here. And if you know anything about restreaming to multiple locations, it says we have 3 people watching on YouTube, so maybe it just won't show us our own stream. Hey, we're cool with that. However, if you are watching on YouTube, will you drop a comment so we know if you're there? That would be super helpful. Also, I'm going to see if you guys are able to see my screen. So, with that, does that show you my desktop? Does that show you that I'm 42 years old? We will find out. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my desktop from there. And then that means I'll be able to show you the pictures we're talking about. Otherwise,
I'll go print them out and show
yeah,
them to
we're going to
you.
go print them out on a dot matrix printer
Yes.
and show them to you with a 300 dp foot
I can
DPF.
take a picture with my phone of
Correct.
the computer screen.
So, any luck on seeing that desktop there? Here's us. Hey,
It
here's
says,
the
I see
desktop.
it.
Cool, awesome. So we'll be able to show you the pictures as we talk about them. That was kind of my hope. So I'm gonna open one up over here. Also, we can also just chat and hang out. Hey, we got a comment on YouTube. We're gonna see if it's gonna load up.
Oh, yay.
That's so weird about YouTube. Oh, cool. Thumbs up. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate it. Let's see here. I'm gonna go over here and grab an image for us. See if we can
I'm
keep.
so excited. I don't think I've seen which ones you picked yet, right?
Not quite yet. Let me go ahead and open this. All right. So over the summer, we had our first workshop, and I got brave enough to think I had something to offer, and we had a few photographers show up that were really, really, really cool, and
It's a fun group.
super fun group. And so we set up a couple of scenes and then just brought a couple of lights and really had a blast just hanging out. And on so many ways, it was like working with Steph again for the first time, watching other people work with her, and watching people really look at the back of their camera and see something that they hadn't seen before is a really, really, really cool feeling. And so it was confidence inspiring for me. It was super, super, super fun. I got to make a few new friends. I got some awesome behind the scenes shots because I wasn't the one shooting most of the time, but I did do a couple of test shots. But when we finished this set, I remember coming home and I was like, that was fun. And then I remember thinking, I don't know if I really have anything to show for it though, but I'm glad my students will, but I didn't. And then I got home and I looked at my SD card, and this was one of the shots on there, and I was like, okay, that was that was a good shot. I wasn't in my creative zone. I was more in a teaching zone, but I was super happy with the shot. And we shot at this spot a lot. This is just about our only westward facing water spot around here, and it's about 20 minutes away. And so I'm old and I don't like driving, and we live in suburbia, and so 20 minutes away is at a not traffic time. It's about 35 with traffic, and so it's got to be a really cool sunset for me to be convinced to drive all that way. And I was super glad we did that night. We'll go back over here to see what folks are saying. Hey, thanks, Jennifer. I really like that shot. I was super happy with it. What's funny is it also combines my love of woodworking, because Steph in that moment is sitting on this little bitty stool. It was like the first stool I made. So to set up that shot, I just walk that stool into the water to where it's sitting just underneath the surface, and then Steph will stand on it, Steph will sit on it, and I'm super surprised that stool is stuck around as long as it has because it's like the cheapest pine, and it's been it's been
been
submerged
everywhere.
for hours and hours and hours.
It's fun though because it's a double step, so you can get in the water or you can stand right on top of the water.
That's true.
Or
That's
sit.
true. All right, so this next shot, by the way, if you have any questions or just want to talk, we're totally open to that too. But this next shot is, gosh, I really can't like rank them, but this next shot, if I had a favorite of the year, this would definitely be it. And I think it warrants the explanation for the inspo and how it came about. And firstly, let me say that you can tell how pretty much off camera this is just by my blatant lack of editing. There's a few things in the skin I could have cleaned up. The light is still overall pretty hot, right? There's some pretty dicey highlights around here, but at the same time, like just seeing it straight off camera like that, I was like, I want to keep that. Every time I do something like this in my head, it's like a proof of concept because if I could go back now, I'd probably add like a little bit of a rim light. I would see if I could diffuse that light under the water a little bit more. And I don't know. I like how organic that cream kind of beige looks on Steph, but I would also probably try it in just like a straight up white dress. I think that would be really cool. So there are a few things I'd love to reshoot whenever the water heats up, but just as a proof of concept and just the overall vibe that this captured, and it was just at a time where we hadn't been creating a ton, and then it just kind of kicked into high gear again, and so it holds a lot of good memories for me. I love the for me, it's always funny because I'm interjecting my own journey into Steph's when she does poses like this, but it's like almost a searching for self or a self discovery and seeing how bright you are when you find yourself. That's definitely what that image means to me. But the idea for that image came from when my buddy Nikki sent me a preview image, and he sent me an inspo image, and it was a similar shot. The woman had a flash behind her for sure, and it was cool, but it wasn't quite there. And then I remembered the summer before we had tried shots where we had vacuum sealed the flashes in like a food processor kind of manner where like and I vacuum sealed so many flashes, and I lost 2 flashes that way. If ever you have a flash, yeah, I totally agree, Mr. Clark. The ripples in the water and the way that you can still see what the image was, even if it was just in the ripple, but also just the way that it's distorted and kind of, for me, again, that's reading really into the art, but that was like the way that our self-perception can be distorted, right? Like when those ripples come across in our lives, and it kind of distorts the way we see ourselves. And that might be a far reach for some, but those are the thoughts that cross my mind. Anyway, we're talking about what's it called? Sinking flashes underwater. And so the summer before, hey, how's it going, Daniel? The summer before, we had vacuum sealed a couple flashes and tried, and I couldn't get it to flash underwater, and I lost 2 underwater. And if ever you lose an electronic like that, get the battery out and let it dry out until you forget about it, and then try it again. And I can say that my 2 Godox V1s is they survived being underwater and completely submerged in the water and had leaked, and I let them dry out, and I put the batteries back in, and they are as good as new. Super happy about that. But so after the vacuum seal failure, I kind of gave up on that idea, and I remembered when I saw that inspo shot that I had gotten a really cheap underwater camera housing that I had done an Ophelia set with, and I was like, you know what would fit in that? A Godox V1. And so not only a Godox V1, but I also was able to fit a mag sphere on top of it to diffuse it a little bit. There you go, oh, I'm not supposed to say it, Mr. Clark. Yeah, the waterproof bag really proved to be invaluable in that case. Coming into portraits that we bring across into portraits. Do both if I wanted to. I really wanted to get into both. Environmental portraiture. I love both, obviously, but environmental portraiture was what had stolen my heart very, very early on. I think it's probably my favorite because with ADHD, I think you're always looking for that variable that is going to be changing, and environmental portraiture certainly combines that. So many of my favorite pictures have been when just something funky happens with the weather, and it's like, hey, let's go shoot in this and see what we can get. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Nev, is that Nev? 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 I'm guessing on that one, but that's Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark to me, I don't want to be mispronouncing stuff. Um, so in that shot, the reason that that flash is really hot is because any deeper and it would not fire. And so I'm looking for some ways around that. So if anybody has any ideas, that's definitely a shot I'd like to improve and work on. And so, oh, sorry that you've been looking at my desktop. Let me get another let me get another image up for you.
I think the other part with that too is when you're working with the model, I was cold and it was, trying to balance in the mud and trying to keep the arch and hold that at the right distance underneath the water without it, making sure that it could flash. You just need a few tries, but
You just need a few dozen tries. All right.
eventually it comes out, and then you notice something like that you would change, but it's still fun to see the outcome.
That'd be cool on a lot of levels, Nev. An underwater torch. So let me show you this image. Let me make sure that this is what I'm showing you. This was maybe the first shot that I had pulled off of the medium format when I got it. And it really showed me the power of the dynamic range that it had, because I didn't do a whole lot of thinking or composing. I didn't know how it was going to come out because I was really struggling with the EVF, and that's kind of my lifeline. And then when I got home and I saw the depth of this image and how it pulled the reflection so softly and beautifully, and again, this has a lot of meaning for me, and as far as self-reflection and looking for yourself and seeing yourself clearly, that tends to be, a theme in my life currently, and it tends to come out in my work a lot, and especially collaborating with Steph, because I know that kind of on somewhat similar journeys there. Got anything for this one, Steph? I know that it probably to you feels like you just looking into a
I can still look at the picture and not just be like, oh, it's me. I mean, I see a beautiful picture, a beautiful image. That one was fun. I think we were just walking around downtown
Mansfield. Yeah.
And we love capturing reflections, whether it's in the water or in the glass like that. It's always really fun to catch a mirrored image. I like that.
Yeah. Michael, thanks, man. It's a learning process, and I can tell you right now, I have way more duds than wins, and so I don't know if that's specific to the model that I got or specific to my skill. I would imagine it's like most things in life, somewhere in the middle. So I will continue to practice before I think about de-investing in that. I feel like when you're using a medium format, that it's almost like cheating because of dynamic range. It's true, man. I think I said on our last live that you can take a picture literally underexposed to the point that it's black and pull out a really usable, decent image out of it. Nev, I've got the 100S, and so I know my autofocus is way behind. I really want to take it on a proper astro trip and a proper landscape trip before I think about moving that out. We'll see about that. But there were a lot of shots of my favorite shots this year taken with my medium format. And so I'm hoping these images are showing up for you guys, because it seems like you're seeing what we're talking about. And so if you have like a thumbs up you want to drop, then I'd be so appreciative, just to let me know that I'm not talking to you guys about nothing. Cool. So here's another one. This one in particularly was fairly random. Alfredo, you said, have you shot in the parking lot where Big D Barbecue is on Pleasant Ridge in Mansfield? It has those large globe streetlights. No, man, I need to be honest with you. I don't think I've been over there. Let's see. Daniel, I'm going to get right back to that. I just want to cover this image really quick. Make sure I'm still showing my screen. Good. So this image was in kind of a, I don't know, a little bit of a funk in my life where, I was kind of living in some of the consequences of some of my actions and inactions at the same time. And For me, when my mental health takes a dive, typically creativity is right there behind it. And so I will go through seasons where I'm frustrated enough with myself or frustrated enough with the situation invited into my life that the creativity really hurts. And so this was one of those glimpses of some creativity in the midst of one of those seasons, and I think it kind of reflects that. Um, if you've been in photography for any amount of time, it's been 3-ish years for me. What's up, everybody? I'll get to those comments here in just a second. But your eyeball starts to look for lines, your eyeball starts to look for colors, your eyeball starts to look for contrast, your eyeball starts to look for interesting things. And I think my eyeballs have been doing that much longer than I've had a camera, but it certainly helps you hone in on that. And I had my favorite lens, my 135 on, and there was this bridge, and I said, hey, would you mind posing on this bridge? And had her sit on the edge, and from there, this is the pose that Steph came up with, which I think is one of the most beautiful that I've seen on her. But just the framing, the thirds, the symmetry, the the listen. If you live in Texas, we've got like bright green, less bright green, and then dirt brown dead. And truly, that's like all we've got here. And so, I don't really like to pump the contrast in greens a whole lot, but like this to me was like reverse fall, right? Like instead of all the color being in Steph, it was in the greenery and all the plant life. And then Steph is a little bit muted and real earth tony. Same with the bridge. And so I love that contrast. I love how it was split in half. And really, it just spoke to me in a season where like I wasn't feeling like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, and then you get kind of affirmations like, okay, I'm on the right path, and like we still have this creative chemistry together. Like I just need to get my head on straight. I'll always be really honest about kind of mental health stuff, especially as artists. I think that we stray away from that a lot, and I feel like that's unfortunate because I'm sure that as artists we could sit here and list like a bazillion things we struggle with, that at least we could not feel alone. Nev, yeah, man, I'm at a point where I don't need to spend a little bit of money for a little bit. I want to invest in some travel, and I also want to invest in paying some stuff off, but I will look into those options. Daniel, I want to be honest with you guys. I feel like I just take a photo because I may have the gear, but I lack the storytelling. I need help with that. I remember getting criticized in a lot of photography forums at first where they're like, what story are you telling? And I was like, I don't think every image has to tell a story. And I still don't believe that every image has to tell a story, but I will tell you that the second that my brain asked that question, what story do you want to tell, that it will change the way that you approach your shoot. There are still tons of times where I'll go, hey, let's just go out here and do this, and we'll get cool shots, and they'll be cool. And sometimes afterwards they'll kind of tell a story on their own. But when I feel like at our best work, particularly collaboratively, we have a mission and an image in our minds already, and we go out and say, this is the story we want to tell. So Daniel, I don't think you can get there through any way but practicing and then flexing your best muscle you have, which is your imagination, and say, what story do I want to tell? Man, that's all up to you. Hey, thanks so much, Nev. I appreciate that feedback. Lynn, yeah, that pose was awesome. Isaiah, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Thanks, Alfredo. Thanks again. Yeah, the color palette is really difficult. It's a ton of trial and error. And also, Nev, you'll notice I go to black and white like 90% of the time because I get frustrated.
Same.
Dude, yeah, Isaiah, anytime you want to, we will get on together live. I think that would be amazing. And man, I would just like to soak up some of your ability to manifest. So let's do this. James, your wife has much in common with my sister-in-law and my mom. Man, if it's, yeah, we'd love to hear some details. And of course, Daniel, thank you, bro. I appreciate your support always, man. Storytelling, you'll realize that you're already good at it. You just have to focus.
And let it be your own.
Yeah, let it be your own. Don't worry about, or even if you don't let it be your own. Like I love Ophelia. Like that is something that pops up in my work all the time. I love the story Ophelia told. I love the imagery that it evokes. I love the artwork that already exists, and like there's still so many Ophelia stuff I want to do. And so,
But again, that's just borrowing and making it your own.
correct, correct.
So.
Just your interpretation. Like the world is not seeing what you have done. All right. This image from that same session, from that same first lighting workshop that we did together. So in the summer of 2022, it was my first summer with a camera, and we attempted this shot, and it turned out really, really well. But we were still also in the phase, Daniel, where like I was just seeing like how do I get this? How do I make this look like this? Like the experimenting, the pre-storytelling days. And Keith, that's just the artist. Yeah, we will. I'll get to these comments. I need to. I'll focus for just a second on the image and then catch up with those. And we'd gotten this image and it looked really well, but I think Steph, you were in like jean shorts and a swimsuit, and the direction of my lighting was really funky. West Virginia in the house. Yeah, you guys talk amongst yourselves, and I'll bore you here, and then I'll catch up. In the picture we did before, my lighting was a bit funky, especially like where the light was coming from was kind of crazy, but it still was a decent image. But like I see the immaturity in it now. And so when I did the lighting workshop, I was like, hey, let's redo this. And man, again, I came home that night and I was like, that was the image that I saw in my head the first time. And really, like, I love the idea of walking on water. That was one of those. I don't talk about the Bible in public an awful lot, but that was one of those stories that I always felt got kind of distorted for me when Peter was out there walking, and Jesus said, "Oh, you have little faith." He didn't say, "Why did you stop believing in me?" He just said, "Why did you stop believing that you could do it?" And like, how is that a mirror to my life, right? And so, yeah, Mandy, right? That's a goddess, absolutely. And so I think that we were all imbued with the ability to walk on water. I love this image. Steph's pose. I wish I could take credit for it, but like that's just what she do. And then I'll borrow it someday. All right, let's get back to our faces before I forget. Hello, everyone. Hey, let's catch up in the comments. I suck with storytelling and images. Isaiah, I would disagree. You tell different stories, and sometimes your stories are with vehicles, but they make this old man want to freaking drive something. So
it's
you tell
telling a story.
You tell all of your stories. Keith, I'm my own worst critic, but I've only been shooting 2 years now. You know, man, it would be, to me, it's like, do you love it enough to practice? Then you will excel, and you will excel quickly. And so just keep going. And I've seen your work. You're not lacking in any area. Logan, what up, bro? Thanks for tuning in again. Yeah, Isaiah, it's a common trend always. And, you know, there's a healthy version of being your own worst critic, and then there's an unhealthy version of being your own worst critic. And it's up to you to find that balance that lets you be satisfied in your work, but not satisfied to lose that hunger. I can't tell you how many artists I know that lose that hunger. And, you know, I think we have seasons, but overall, like, I hope that voice stays in my head. It keeps me hungry. Okay, I love you guys talking to each other. I love you, Mandy. So good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Let me pull up another image, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. This is still super new for us, and so it's fun and interesting. Yeah. So this image is gonna make me say words that I don't really know how to pronounce, but here we go. All right, so we were at South Llano State Park in early June for a few days, and it is disorientingly dark. I am not a deep space astrophotographer by any stretch of the imagination, but I want to say it's Ophiuchi, or this constellation in particular is my favorite, and I'd never really gotten enough to get the dust. And I figured we're in a dark sky location for once, and I took the time to set up my star tracker, and I got about 12 minutes worth of data on this constellation. Yeah, and so these dark spots that you see here are actually just dust so thick that no light from behind it can get in, and same with these yellows and same with these blues, and like there's so much happening. it's just pretty unbelievable. But I remember, getting to this image, and it just blew my mind. It was beautiful, and being able to see this somewhat to this degree with the naked eye, definitely more detail than I had ever had before. It was just absolutely crazy. Uh, James, you asked how did I get interested in guitar? Like every other dude got interested in guitar because of Wonderwall. No, I'm just joking. I grew up in like an uber conservative church, and it had a very country and western kind of vibe to the music, and that's one of the things I'm grateful is growing up around live music weekly and great musicians that knew their stuff, and so it just kind of a lot of it was trying to fit in, like what's my role here, and so I think I was about 12 when I was on stage for the first time, and brother Benny let me sit next to him and plug into the second input of his PV amp, and I remember really humbling watching Brother Benny turn himself down and me up over the years, and it was super kind of him, and that's what got me into guitar. And gosh, I've been playing a long time now, but I'm grateful for the journey that instrument has brought me on over my life. Hope that answers that questions. Mandy, that shot that you said, "Teach me the ways about the stars," that would, any other one, I would take you out and you'd have it in a minute. That shot is difficult, and like we have to drive for a long time.
You can do it though. She likes to travel.
She could totally do it. Daniel, thank you, bro. I hope and pray the same, because this is awesome and I love paying it forward. Hey, Chris, what's up, my brother? Good to see you, man. While we're chatting here, Steph, you got anything? I'm going to pull up another image.
I'm just knitting, so I think on that image, some of my favorite things have been going out to the darkest skies that we can find, and I mean, this is one of my favorites here.
Yeah. Why don't you?
But I remember.
I would love to hear your take on this one.
Okay, well, that one was. Where were we?
South Lano.
South Lano, and we were in Snake River, which is not the real name, but it feels that way. Seeing it during the day was awesome. Being out there at night, at what time were we out there?
That was at 1:34.
Yeah, it gets dark, it gets cold, it gets noisy with animal life and wildlife out there. But it's fun. I think if this image right here, the funniest thing about it is it looks like a beautiful draped dress, but if you can get close enough, you'll see that we could not find a boutique open. Nope. By the time we got to town. So I went to your nearest Dollar General and got a white shower curtain, I think, and we just said, let's just see if we can make it work. And it ended up being a beautiful wrap. But yeah, this one, a lot of these shots, if you're in a lake, it's fine. If you're in any body of water that's not moving, it's great. This was a river, so we had lights put in with stands. I'm standing on like a rock, and then, there's a noise behind me, and I'm like trying not to, fall over and still hold a pose, all while Rafe is capturing magic behind me. But this is one of my favorite images.
Same, and this image, I can't tell you the amount of times that folks have said that it's AI, which really makes. I've shown behind the scenes videos of this setup, and they're like the most boring behind the scenes videos because it's blackness and then a blinding white light and then more blackness, and then the back of this camera screen pops up.
And then be still, be still, be still, be still, be still, be still.
Be still, and like the light from the back of your camera can mess this shot up. Your phone going off can mess this shot up. Like there are a million different things that can mess this shot up. So I don't think anybody. Oh, Keith, this was a 13-second exposure, so that's a great question. And so, just for the record, this shot in portrait, which I think a lot of people aren't used to seeing the Milky Way in portrait, and so I didn't have Steph get in the river. I got my shot. I set up my tripod in the water. I lowered the tripod to where the tip, the leading edge of my lens hood was underwater, which is terrifying when you can't see.
And it's
but
rushing
it's
river
rush. Yeah,
water.
it's very, very, very fast water, and so I'm like putting rocks around the bottom of the tripod, then having to level the tripod again, and then praying that it's still enough to where there's no motion blur.
And remember the snake that was wrapped around the bottom of the tripod when we went to go get it?
Yeah, it was horrifying, and so got my camera set up, got my exposure I wanted, and then I set up a strobe. It immediately fell in the water, so I had to get another strobe out, and I was like, I love 2 light sources, but we were going with 1 because I can't afford to lose another light. Got my light situated off of a bank with a grid on it, and so in this case, I'm looking to shed light on Steph, nowhere else. Yes, snakes, lots of snakes. And so I got my grid where I wanted, and then finally, last second, I said, "All right, Steph, please step in." Steph stepped in, struck this gorgeous pose. Again, just to prove, like, people would be like, "That's AI, that's blah blah blah," and I'm like, why would AI wear a hair tie on its wrist? And then
Because they forget sometimes.
and like I could edit that out, but to me it adds to the authenticity. And probably if I made like a print of it or anything like that, I would edit that out. But it just says what that moment was like for us.
I think I'd literally just taken my hair down though, because it was the middle of the night.
Yeah. I mean,
A lot of the time, some of our most beautiful pictures that I like, people are like, "Why does she have glasses on?" And I'm like, "Because I can't see. I'm blind." But so some of them, it's not ideal, like image wise. Like I think some of the first ones that you showed, I have my glasses on.
yeah.
But like the picture's so cool to me. I don't
Sorry.
really care if it's perfect or it's.
Yeah.
I have glasses on.
And so, Keith, you asked how long that was a 13-second exposure. With the 35 millimeter 1.8, that's become my favorite Milky Way lens. It lets me get a tighter shot, and then really after 13 seconds, I get really nice sharp stars, but like a lot of color, and it really surprises me. Thank you again, Alfredo and Nev snakes, dude. They're terrifying. It's true, man. I could never guess what will go crazy on Facebook. I remember I took a picture of an old Studebaker under the Milky Way, and I think that's probably been my most liked picture organically on my page. And I just said like the road to eternity or something
Was
like
that Godstone?
Yeah, and it like took off, and I don't know what it is about the combination of like an old car and the Milky Way, but like that must speak to some folks' heart. And Daniel, that's an example. Like I wasn't trying to tell a story; it was just a cool car and the Milky Way.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the juxtaposition of like eternity
You're right.
and something that's modern in its time, but by the time we photograph it, it's an antique. You know,
That's true.
It still tells a story whether you mean to or not.
All right, while we're still here, let me pull up another. Again, drop us a comment if you'd like as I navigate. Next time I'm going dual screens because this is a joke.
We're learning.
We are always learning and trying scary, scary new things. Let's see here. I'm going to drop 2 really quick. You know what I should do, Steph, is have you get in your comments on the phone, and that way we can just have 2 screens.
Oh yeah.
All right, y'all, coming back to you. Stay tuned. Pulling up another image.
Oh, this is.
You're gonna see my dirty desktop right now while I try to navigate this. This was from.
Cato.
Let's see. Yeah, same. Nev, I understand why they would want to get rid of them, but like as a liability. But good Lord, I miss them. The dark sky pick. Thanks, Terry. It's one of my favorites too, and it was definitely a labor of love. I can tell you that much. Alfredo, yeah. Oh, that would be cool to do a live with Steph in the silos. That'd be super super fun. All right, this image was from Caddo Lake. And we got invited by a photo nerd club. Some of my good friends over there. They had a cabin, and so again, this is one of my first medium format shots, and it was one of those ones that actually hit and looked. I just did like a light skin retouch, but other than that, it was just off camera goodness, and that's always a good feeling for me. If you've ever been to Caddo Lake. It is a really interesting place, but
It doesn't look real.
yeah, all these super duper hundreds of year old bald cypress. The average depth of the lake, I want to say, is something like 5 feet. So it's kind of just like a giant swamp filled with these big cypress trees.
And I learned something. The roots grow so far down until they start to grow back up. And then you'll have all these little nubs everywhere that you're tripping on. And it's just the furthest parts of the roots that are growing back up to form a new tree.
For us, though, from suburbia, it was really one of those places that solidified, like, I need to be in the woods, because we were out walking in the woods in the morning, and it's just naturally foggy, and, like, it's hard to take a bad picture. I think one of my moon pictures that blew up this year was from there, and people are like, how did you get that moon picture? And I was like, I literally pointed the camera up at the moon in the morning, and, like,
It's gorgeous.
it was incredible. And every time you take a picture of these trees with the fog through them and the lights diffuse so perfectly, like, it's tough to get a bad shot there.
I sat inside of one of those at the bottom and just drew and stuff while everybody was taking pictures. And I mean, it's so cool place if you haven't ever been there.
And if you're interested in cryptozoology at all, Steph and I have slept on top of our car in the tent in some pretty remote locations in the dark and the cold and the heat. And Caddo Lake, we heard some stuff that was like
wild.
It really was. There was like a whooshing sound that felt like you could feel the pressure of it. It was really good. Hey, Nev, it was nice talking to you, man. Thanks for tuning in. You really made a difference having some folks to interact with, so thank you.
Yes, thank you.
But yeah, Caddo Lake, if you get a chance to go, it is just absolutely outstanding. We'll probably stay on here for a few more minutes, talk about a couple more images if you guys are still tuned in at all. If not, maybe you can watch it later and still comment here or there. Let me find my images. I'll tell you, I'll get the hang of this.
Eventually.
All right, next one coming up.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah, this is another one off of the medium format. Really just kind of changed a lot of my approach. And Terry, where are you from, bro? I think I'm Texan enough to say that I don't think I've seen a real lighthouse, and so I apologize to the rest of the world. Yeah, let us know where you're from. And so this is that, I think, from the second or third time we took the medium format out. And there is this state park nearby that has like an intact farm from the 1800s, and a lot of the infrastructure still exists. Has a really cool old house that you can't get into, but you can get on the porch, and it has a couple of barns and like a few other farm accoutrements. This is actually inside the barn, and it was a little bit dark and creepy in there. It's not well lit, and dark had definitely already fallen. And so the interior of the barn, there's like a barn inside the barn, like a square structure. And so I put a flash in there with a mag mod to diffuse the light, and a quarter CTO to make a little bit of warmth, like almost maybe like a firelight or something not cold white light. Then I had my key light from the front, which was my 34-inch Northern Michigan. Love it. And yes, Alfredo, that is Cedar Hill. Terry, shoot me a picture of that lighthouse. That'd be super cool. And we've never been to Michigan. Continuing with this image, I had my 34-inch Cheetah Stand QSB on my Cheetah Stand rolling boom in front, and to Steph's left, our right. Steph put together this outfit, which was like kind of, I just loved the combo of that brown and that pink together really made the image. But more than anything, those catch lights in her eyes, and then that pinch of her waist. It's just like one of the best hourglasses I've ever seen. And then the reflection through the lamp. And again, we find ourselves looking at a theme of
Reflection.
Yeah, reflection in the search of self, and seeing ourselves accurately. And so I love that image. So we will stay on for a few more minutes. I want to save a couple more images for another stream, but we wanted to jump in tonight and just kind of get some practice, get in the habit of doing this, and also gauge interest with it. So again, if you haven't Um, subscribe to our YouTube. What the light showed me. I know I brought the backpack down here, but it's a really nice case
What
lug.
color?
It's black, like all of them. Oh, it's in our room.
Okay.
But hey, if you need a backpack or you're lacking a backpack or you have a friend that needs a backpack and you're still on, let me know. I'll slap that into a priority mail, medium flat rate ship box and get it to you. Just for tuning in and being here with us tonight. Got a lot of folks that are always really kind and generous to me with those kinds of things, and so yeah, if you need a backpack, just shoot me a message or blow up the comments here, and I'll make sure it gets to you. Even if you didn't see this live, that's totally cool. Oh, Steph's gonna Vanna for us. Okay, Case Logic, good. This backpack has been places like Colorado
So
Bend.
cute, though.
It's got this really cool kind of suspension neoprene thing that it's kind of cool when you're carrying a single camera though, because you can. It's basically like a hammock. And so put this here, put your lens through, and then it velcros on this side, and it's actually really secure. Oh, thank you, Terry. You should check out Alfredo's pics while you're at it, Terry. Oh yeah, here we go. Lots of storage, tripod holder on this side, really long opening on this side. But hey, if you need a backpack, it's yours. Drop a comment or message me. But with that, we'll get off here in a minute. Just want to see if anybody else has any other questions. Thanks for hanging out this long. I know this one was super last minute, and so we're gonna try to get ahead of it. We're gonna try to probably do this once a week. There might come a time where we do it like publicly once a month, and then have like a couple of different groups happening for folks that really like it. And so, but if there aren't any more questions or everybody's done with these picks, we really appreciate you guys being here. Anything that I'm forgetting, Steph?
I don't think so.
But cool, we streamed between two platforms, and
That's right. Did we get both of them?
I think we did. I think YouTube is on. Okay, let's see. Terry's got. What do you recommend for photography backpacks for a Canon R10 and a 150 to 600 contemporary? Hey, I appreciate you, Alfredo. Hey, James, thank you, bro. Then thank you, Rafen. This is the new chosen time. We'll have me and Crosslock for the timing. Awesome. I can't wait to see you there, James. We appreciate it, you brother. Let's see, Terry, what do you recommend for photography backpack? I'd recommend this one. I'll tell you what, tonight, Terry, I will look inside of this one and I'll load up one of my bodies and the 150 to 600 that I have and see if it fits. And if it fits, I think that this backpack would work great for you. Keith, let me get Steph to talk for a second, and I will pull up my favorite low-key photo for you because you can talk about whatever you want. Because I know that one just off the cuff as you asked that.
Well, I think we're all just waiting on your low-key photo.
What's your sketchiest photography set that we've done? When have you ever feared for your life actually?
No, not really. I think well, we weren't even into photography yet when we went to Big Bend.
That's true.
That was one time. Actually, if we would have had camera gear, we probably would have stopped further down the cliff than we did to protect it. But no, I've always said it's always fun. I joke around and tell Rafe to make sure that he tells all of the snakes, to be not where we are, just because I don't want to encounter anybody like that in the middle of the night. It just freaks me out.
Keith, if you're still there, I just remembered that I don't have to show you digitally.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're gonna do what I said. Okay. Let me take a picture of it first.
It
This
is
one is cool.
the only thing I've put on canvas.
Go closer. So
Oh, I hate this. This is when I have to show the camera. Anyway. Yeah, I hope you can see that decently.
I
But
thought that was the whole family one for some reason.
no, just but I don't know. I naturally love that profile a whole lot, and then I just thought it was a cool way to show. I'll quote my friend Greg. He said, "That's a heck of a way to show off a woman without showing what the woman looks like," and I think that that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I love this shot. I'll upload it later, but again, super easy, and any of you could do it.
Maybe you can do a class on it.
Yeah, I think we've demonstrated this one a couple times, but maybe we can do something cool. So with that, any other questions? Totally happy to do. There are a lot of people who will kind of when art gets towards any of the ends of the bell curve, it can be polarizing. And so one of the gigs that we have every year for the past, this will be our third year, is Twin Peaks. I've never eaten there on my own.
No, we did when we shot them.
Yeah, but the managers gave us free food the couple times we shot there, and so they book us every year at one restaurant, and this year they booked us at 4 restaurants, and so that's one of our plans, is to do some cool live streams from there, some behind the scenes from there, and just show you some of that creative stuff that happens behind the scenes. We want to have some on-site behind the scenes stuff. We want to have some tutorials and just really kind of delve into that world. And really, we got you guys to thank for being so cool and so supportive in your responses here. And yeah, definitely, Terry, please send me that Flickr page. We'd love to see your wildlife. Keith, thanks for being here. Yeah, Alfredo, absolutely. If we need another photographer, yeah, I'll have to contractually. Their stuff is really kind of tight knit. And so the past couple times I've actually asked, and they have said that it's me and Steph. And so maybe this year, since we're doing so many, I'll just say, hey, we need trace photographers. But it'll be there either in person or online, and maybe we'll just set you up a little iPad and you can help direct and do all that kind of stuff if you need to FaceTime in. Awesome, y'all. Well, we hope you have a great night. We will see about doing another live soon, and if you watched this in the past, let us know.